The coffin within the walls, a reflection on instant justice. We often view justice as something found only in the sterile halls of a courthouse, a complex machine of lawyers, evidence, and the heavy toll of a judge's gavel. We know that human justice is flawed. Even the wisest judges are only mortal. But sometimes justice ceases to be a legal concept and transforms into a living, breathing force. It acts of its own accord, delivering a verdict far swifter and more poetic than any human could ever could. The story of a thief in an old-fashioned fur store is perhaps the most haunting example of this natural law. It began under the cover of night. A man stood upon the roof of a grand old building, eyeing the tall, narrow chimneys as his secret gateway to reach. To him, the chimney was a shortcut to a life he hadn't earned. He climbed in, slipping into the dark void, but halfway down, the wall suddenly closed in. He stopped moving. He wasn't on the floor of the shop. He was wedged tightly between walls of soot and stone. The 18-inch thick masonry pressed against his chest, stealing his breath. Every struggle only wedged him deeper. In that suffocating darkness, the God of force he desired vanished from his mind, replaced by a primal, terrifying realization. He was buried he was buried alive in a tomb of his own making. For 10 agonizing hours, he remained suspended in that vertical coffin. When morning broke, the world below him came to life. He could hear the muffled sound of shop assistant logging and the clinking of teacups. The son of a world he no longer belonged to. Desperation finally broke his pride. The man who had entered the chimney to steal now lost his last bit of strength to beg. Toward midday, a young lad heard it a ghostly hollow cry echoing from behind the wallpaper. It wasn't the sound of a criminal. It was the sound of soul staring into the abyss. When the fire brigade finally hammered through the thick brickwork, a pathetic six emerged out of the whole crowd, a figure that hardly looked human, blackened by soot, trembling with exhaustion and broken by the weight of his own fear. There was no need for an interrogation. The man weeping as stuttered confessed immediately. He had spent 10 hours facing his own mortality in the dark. As the shop assistant watched him being led away, the purse it served him right hung in the air. But it was more than just fate. It was an acknowledgement. Before the police arrived, before a lawyer could speak, and before a judge could pass a sentence, justice had already been served. He had been tried by the silent and sentenced by the stones. He entered the chimney a thief, but he left it a man who had already paid his debt in full through 10 hours of living terror. Does this version capture the atmosphere you were looking for? It highlights the irony of a man being impressioned by the very path he chose for his crime. A carnival on the web. Travel is a dance between wonder and wit. As our great liner glide into the harbor, the waters swarm, with small boats, like bees to a flower. Before the anchor could even drop, merchant had climbed aboard, draping the decks in a vibrant tapestry of Persian rugs, Indian silks, and hand-beaten silver. It was a tempting feast for the eyes, but I chose to wait, believing the real treasure lay on the shore. The shore, however, was a battlefield of persuasion. It was immediately intercepted by a man selling diamond the size of marbles, desperate to plot their worth by scaring shop windows with their judged edge. It took 30 minutes of dodging and weaving to escape him, only to walk straight into the next trap. A man wielding a gold pen. It looked flawless. The the inscription made in USA gleamed with false promise. He asked for £10. I offered £1. What followed was pure theater. He wailed, he gesticulated wildly, acting as if I had insulted his very soul. But as I walked away, the egg crumbled. He tossed the pen into my hand and snatched my single pawn with lightning speed, still feigning despair as he vanished into the crowd. I returned to the ship triumphant, or so I thought. But back in the quiet of my cabin, the truth emerged. No matter how hard I tried, the pen refused to the ink. It was a hollow shell, a beautiful lie craft from cheap plastic. I realized then that I hadn't won the bargain at all. In that harbor, even a single pound was far too dear, a price for a pen that would never write a word.